Hello everybody, good evening, welcome to the United Stands. I'm Mark Goldbridge and this is your latest Manchester United news. Now, is it time to worry? The season is only 3 and a little bit weeks away. Arsenal got their striker today, Gyokeres. That closes the door on all the rumours that we've had. But bit of a striker crisis for Amorim as well. Is it time to worry? Are we actually anywhere near being ready for the start of the season? Nice to see Bruno on the training ground and on the flight to the States looking happy. But is this United squad, in your opinion, looking ready for a new season? And the striker situation, where do we go now? I was watching the show with Maud's at 2 o'clock. Fantastic. I do like Maud's and I do like his opinions. And I liked the fact that he brought Mateta in, Mawani in. But look, where are we going next? That Gyokeres story felt like it would have been an absolute miracle, but a nice one. Sesko has been written off this morning. So where are we going next? Fabrizio Romano tonight talking about Nicolas Jackson basically being offered to Manchester United. Yeah, I want to get into that. Also, an incredible tweet I saw this today that I really want to get into as well. A little bit of topical stuff we'll get into at the start of the show too. But it is an 8 o'clock show. These are my favourite shows at the moment, and they basically do get driven by you. So, you know, have your say. I'm not going anywhere. I'm just grabbing all of this. But before we get into all of that, we are sponsored by Manscaped on the show. That means you can get 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code TUS20. You can scan that QR code next to me, or you can click the link in the video description. Now, they've got the beard and balls bundle where you get the beard trimmer and the lawnmower as part of a package, but they've got loads of other stuff like the handyman if you want a clean shave. They've got the weed whacker, but look at this. I haven't even used it yet, which sort of gives you a little bit of hint that I'm a bit like Kate Bush down there at the moment. But, well, I mean, I've only had this a couple of weeks, and to be honest with you, if you've used Manscaped, you don't have to use it every week unless you want to be Pele, Brazilian. I use it probably once a month just to keep a good length on it. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. Trusted by millions of men worldwide, and it's a brilliant product. I promise you the next time I will have used it, but I'll remove the pubes and stuff. I don't know why people worry about stuff like that. I mean, what do you think it's there for? People get so, oh my God, I can't believe he said it. What do you think it does? Wash your pots? It's there to trim down there. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. And, you know, that's what you need to do. 20% off, free worldwide shipping, cost, trusted by men worldwide, millions of men worldwide, TUS20 and free worldwide shipping. Thank you very much to Manscaped, as always. Right, let's go through some of the topical stuff first of all. Then we will obviously get into some of your comments as per usual. So I think the first place to start is probably what Fabrizio has said about the striker situation. I mean, it's a slight contradiction on what we had this morning, but of course we have to. You know, I'm not scared to answer questions about anything in relation to the football. And you know, I think that on Sunday we did have a brief to the Portuguese press that Sporting wanted Man United to put an offer in. We had Fabrizio Romano overnight saying that Sporting had offered Manchester United the opportunity to bid for Gyokeres. Ben Jacobs says Man United never took that opportunity. And I don't think we took that opportunity because we knew we wanted Arsenal. And he's gone to Arsenal. Whether we've been used to get that deal done very, very quickly, because it has happened very quickly now, I don't know. This happened with Wizza last week and Newcastle, of course. Look, I'll still say it. If he'd have hinted that he wanted a move, I'd have bid. He's wanted Arsenal. He's been consistent about that. So, I think, I'm very happy with it. I'm very happy that we appeared to stay in there if anything was going to change. He's gone to Arsenal. Well done to them. He'll play against us in the first game of the season, which will be interesting. Where do we go next? That's my big concern. Where do Manchester United move next? Because there's a lot of things being said about what type of striker we're going to go for. Pletty is saying that Amorim wants an experienced striker. So an experienced Premier League striker. He prefers to sign a striker with Premier League experience. We've also heard from Fabrizio that Sesko, Jackson, Watkins are all options being considered after other strikers, including Vlahovic, have been offered to as well. The priority for Jackson would be to stay at Chelsea and fight for his place, but if it isn't possible, United would be considered as a good option. It's up the club to now. I mean, again, like he wants to stay at Chelsea, but if they tell him to go, he'll come to us. How's about piss off? I mean, I know that's a blunt statement, but it's like he's. I don't like it. I don't like it. Nicolas Jackson is open to joining Man United, even without Champions League football. Oh well, thanks God. Thank God. Oh God. You know, forget everything. You know, give him a BAFTA. Give him a bravery award. The nurses have it hard. If Nicolas Jackson is willing to come to Manchester United, if Chelsea don't want him anymore and we're not in the Champions League football, I mean, get this guy a medal. I mean, what a humble human being. Go and slide into some OnlyFans DMs, Pratt. I don't want him anywhere near Manchester United. Oh, humble. PJ Humble. That's I'd rather have him up front. Actually, I definitely would. He's a nice guy, and I think he's a United fan. Yeah, I don't want him anywhere near Man United. Oh, you know what? If Chelsea don't, I want to stay at Chelsea, but if they don't want me anymore, I will go to Man United. How's about slam the door on it? Forget it. I'm embarrassed. That we're going to that we're being linked to him. I'm embarrassed that we're being offered him. I really am. I'm embarrassed by it. I don't know. It's PK Humble, sorry. But I would rather have him up front. Definitely. I'm not even joking. He did all right at the Baller League. But I don't want Jackson, and I don't like these stories. And Fabrizio saying that he's been offered to Manchester United in recent days with the opportunity to open. I mean, how do you sell that? Chelsea. Hello, it's Man United. Jason Wilcox picks up the phone. Hello, it's Chelsea. Oh yeah. Have we got an opportunity for you today? Okay. Yeah, well, I'm glad you still not hung up the phone. We've tried about 20 million other clubs and they just keep hanging up on us. Yeah, so we've got a great opportunity for you today. This is fresh off the production line. He scored goals in the Premier League. You're not talking about Nicolas Jackson, are you? No. Just wait. He gets assists. He's hardworking. He's under 25. He's won medals recently and has been described by somebody on OnlyFans as a great finisher. You're talking about Nicolas Jackson, aren't you? Yeah, we are, but he's yours for not 100, not even 90 million, not even 80 million. For £70 million, he's going once. He's going to, hello, Jason. That's gone. We do slam the bloody phone down. In recent days, Manchester United have been approached with the opportunity to open talks with Nicolas Jackson. At the moment, they're not proceeding with any official bid. Really do hope Jason Wilcox has slammed the door on that deal and said, do one. You've took Liam Delap from me, a guy I knew from Man City. You've took him and you have the cheek to ring me up and offer me Nicolas Jackson. You know what you can do? You can go forth and prosper. I didn't fall off a Christmas tree. Jog on. I hope you got a pair of trainers on because you can jog on. No. And look, it's not unusual, as Tom Jones once sang, to be offered players. And I'm not worried about what Fabrizio is saying because I'm pretty sure Chelsea have rang us up. Because if Chelsea like to do one thing, they love to sell their players they don't want to Premier League clubs for profit. Havertz, Madueke, Mount, they've got form for it. So I'm pretty sure they have been ringing around. Hello, is that Aston Villa? You won't believe what offer we've got for you today. Premier League proven striker with plenty of mileage left on the clock. Only one previous owner, and we've looked after him really, really well. He's not yours for 100 million. Not for 90, not even 80. For one day only, you can get Nicolas Jackson for £70 million. Yeah, we'll even throw in a clean wash and a polish. Yeah. Yeah, he's top of the range. Hello? Amorim, are you still there? Yeah. We can't go anywhere near it. But is it time to worry, seriously? Because I'm looking at it now. And as I said, I watched the show with Mords this afternoon. He was talking about Mateta. Look, Gyokeres is off the table. I wish it wasn't. Osimhen is off the table. I wish it wasn't. Sesko seems to be off the table, and I'm sort of understanding why. I like Sesko. I think he's the most high-profile player on the market, but I'm not convinced he's the right player for our system. I like Watkins, and I like Mateta. They're the two I like. They're Premier League proven. It fits in with what Amorim wants. And they're better than Nicolas Jackson. And I think they're both older. And they both offer a clear pathway to the first team for OB as well. I like Watkins or Mateta. That's where I am. Is it time to worry? Depends who we go for. Depends who we go for. We can still salvage something. And to be honest with you, I like the way that you and I and everyone else is reacting to this. Osimhen or Gyokeres is what we should have been going for. But the day we messed up that Europa League final, I think the rules change. And at that point, I think that's when you start going for Mateta and Watkins. And that's where you have to start saying that's the level we're at. I think Gyokeres or Osimhen, as I always said, get one of those up front, and I'd actually start thinking maybe fifth. I think now we're probably going throw us into the bucket with everybody else, and we might come out sixth, we might come out ninth. If we're really lucky, we might come out fifth, and it's just going to be pot luck on how we do this season. But I do like the idea of a Watkins. I do like the idea of a Mateta. Anything beyond that, I'd start to think, why are we even bothering? I'll stick with Obi, Rasmus and Xerxes, to be honest with you. Hope we have a good season, and happy 60th birthday to Mr. WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels. I didn't know that. Rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne as well. I saw that he sadly passed today. Never really was into his music or anything like that, but I did like his TV program a few years ago. Rather take nothing than Jackson. Work on a keeper, says Parker. Thank you very much. Sesko and Guerra need to be brought together. Get it done, says Ross. If Mason Greenwood had stayed, it would solve half these problems we have today. Kenny, in a footballing sense, I don't necessarily disagree with you. But in a real life sense, if Mason Greenwood had stayed, I don't think we would have had... Well, I can't even begin to tell you what would have happened if we kept him, because 50% of the fan base were very adamant that he should not stay and shit was going to hit the fan. So yeah, it would not have been a ride without its bumps. Let's just say that. I hope we're not like Arsenal. Be Chelsea's bitch, says JB. Premier League experience: Watkins, Aben Nilsson, or Nunez. Watkins for me, Paul. Do you agree Bruno should come off the bench? What, on 300k a week? No. I think if you keep Bruno, you pick Bruno and he's the captain, La Familia. I think the minute you put Bruno on the bench, we're going to have a problem. I believe we should strongly consider investing in Sesko if we aim to compete with the top teams. He possesses exceptional shooting power and impressive shot placement, says Kevin, otherwise known as finishing. Hi Mark, here's a take. Why aren't we going for Wizza as a striker option? 19 goals, 4 assists, is more than Mateta and Watkins, and a strong bond with Mbeumo. Bit concerned we are so slow with Lemens, says Caleb. Well, we're not that slow with Lemens, because this time last week we weren't even sort of focused on him. So a lot of people liking that, Caleb, about Wizza. Never been in for him. Sorry, Jackson, you're not for real, says Rita. And Mark, can you shout out my mate Ollie G? Cheers, pal, says Ben. Shout out to Ollie. Columbus says, why did we push for Gyokeres when the player himself said that he only wants Arsenal? I think it's embarrassing. We didn't push for Gyokeres. We didn't push for Gyokeres. What happened is we had a very good chance, if we'd won the Champions League, of getting him. 99% according to Fabrizio. We had a period of time where I think we still had a chance of getting him without it. But as soon as Arsenal went, we want Gyokeres and not Sesko, we were done, really. That was it. And I think we've sort of hung around in the hope that Arsenal go for Sesko, and if he'd have ever said I fancied Man United, he would have come. But what Gyokeres has basically done if we're being completely blunt here. And I'm not saying we need to boo him or anything like that. I like the player. But what he's basically done is, he said to Amorim, I don't care whether you gave me the opportunity. I don't care whether you made me one of Europe's best strikers. I don't want to play for you at Man United. I want to go to Arsenal. So it's basically what he's done. You can agree with it or disagree with it. And he's done it because Arsenal's a better prospect than us. Amorim clearly didn't have the pull. Because I think United had the money. And he didn't fancy it. And he didn't have the pull with Kenda either. Because he fancied Chelsea as well. I think if Kenda and Gyokeres had done what Cunha and Mbeumo have done and said, I just want Man United, they'd be wearing a Man United shirt. But for whatever reason, Amorim's pull wasn't there. And it's probably because they don't fancy Man United. I don't think it's because they think Amorim's a prat. I think they looked at Man United and went, I don't fancy that. Which surprises me more with Kenda, who is like 17. But they didn't fancy it, did they? Scott says, number 8 is a priority for me if we have to pick. Cunha and Mbeumo will provide plenty of goals. Bruno needs to be played as a 10 in the front 3, as Cunha as a false 9. I disagree, Scott. I don't see why we spend £62 million on a player and then do the whole square peg in a round hole. It's like buying Mateta again, isn't it, and sticking him on the wing. I don't like it when people start talking about putting Mbeumo up front or Cunha up front, especially not Cunha. I mean, has anybody actually watched Cunha? Cunha's like a fusion of Moussa Dembele in the midfield and probably somebody like Isak. You know, he's like a number 10 who can get the ball and run with it. He's strong. He's got a low centre of gravity. Playing him as the last man, you lose half his game. I don't think people realise that Mbeumo is brilliant in the final third, picking up the ball and making yards. It's difficult to do that when you're the last man. You want Mbeumo in receiving the ball in tight spaces and moving into the next 10 yards. Free kicks, creativity, panic. Stick him as the last man. You're gonna lose all of that. Surprised not looked at Samu at Porto, says Joe. Young, inexperienced. I think that's probably why. Swap Garnacho and Cash for Martinez and Watkins, says Keel. Rashford and Garnacho A2 posters are now 50% off on the Man United online store. Good bargain, that, says Garkle. If Watkins is 60 and Sesko is 75, then Sesko is worth it, says Deffer. We need to go ask if Sesko, now that the Gyokeres drama is over, everyone else would be a plan C or D, says Ivan. I do think with the striker that today's announcements for Gyokeres will change things. Like the striker market was always being driven by Arsenal. And as soon as Arsenal bought their player, I think there was always going to be a bit of a domino effect. So it will be interesting to see how it pans out now. I hope we have a good season and happy 60th. I've done that one from Rita. Suraj says, Sesko do good in the Premier League. Ex-Leipzig strikers have flopped. Werner and Kunku. What about no striker and play 3-4-1-2? Take a deep breath. Respect the fact that Suraj has done a super chat and he's just throwing his opinion in as he's entitled to. Okay, now I will say this. We are not changing the formation. My mind doesn't work like this. I don't understand why you, not just Suraj, start talking about formation changes. How does your brain work? Do you actually do it just because you want to have a hypothetical? Or do you actually think it could happen? Because it's not going to happen. If I was in charge, I'd play 4-3-3, but I don't talk about it because we're never going to do it. We're never going to change our formation to a 3-4-1-2. He's not going to tweak it. It's one striker, it's 2 number 10s, it's 2 holding midfielders, and it's a back 5 or it's a back 3 with 2 wing backs. That's about the evolution you're going to get. You're not going to see 2 strikers. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. Amorim couldn't bring a cold back from Sporting, says Tristan. Ooh. Sterling on loan, says Kale. Ooh. Barada claims there was a plan, and frankly, the players left to pick from are options C, D, and F, being Jackson, failure, and this needs calling out. No plan, says Mike JW. I think the striker plan was Delap. I think the striker plan was Gyokeres if we won the Champions League. I think after that, we're a bit stuck. Need a midfielder over a striker, says Hader. A lot of people starting to say this. Mark, your promoting techniques are just class, says Joe Wright. Aussie over Jackson, he's that bad. We will riot, says Ross. Bit disrespectful. Were you cleared to say we did Mbeumo Thursday, says Rylan. Don't know what that means. Lucas says breaking and Burma will sign for Man United, says Ibrahim. How could we attract Sesko to United, says Danny. Paying what they want. I'm sure he would come. Are you going to do FPL? I think I will have a go at FPL, Ash. Columbus, welcome to the Members Club. Hi, Mark, says Lee Cape Town. And everyone. If we sign Jackson, he's the Timu version of Gyokeres. It just seems like these journalists want to upset us, says Lee. Alex Mix, welcome to the Members Club as well. I think if Amorim was to sign Nicolas Jackson, he would be on the thinnest of thin ice. I mean, look, the club aren't stupid. They're not stupid. They are very, very aware of what you say, and they'll 100% be aware that no United fan really wants Gyokeres. So they will be aware of it. Just a couple of other things I want to bring in as well. Regards, travelling party for the US tour. Harry Maguire wasn't with it because of personal issues, but he has posted on Instagram that all is fine now. We'll be travelling to meet up with the squad tomorrow. So good news, because look, you don't ever want to hear about family, personal issues, etc. You really don't. But it's really important that Harry and everybody else is there. We don't want, I mean, those sort of things are out of everybody's hands, but injuries, etc. We want to be as prepared as we can, because that's the other thing I wanted to ask. How prepared do you think we are at the moment for the start of the season? Because I think that when you look at it from a strategic point of view, 3 weeks on Sunday we play Arsenal. I think the squad we've got is the squad we use. I don't see anything. I mean, it's scary, but I think this is it. Last season, we had De Ligt and Mazraoui in barely in time. Xerxes and Yoro. But this is it. This is the squad. I don't see anything happening before then. Maybe Lemens comes in. But... And Vitek hasn't travelled with the squad, by the way, so that theory's dead in the water too. This is the squad we're going to play against Arsenal. And remember, this is an Arsenal team that finished second last season, and will have Zubimendi, Madueke, Gyokeres. Who else have they bought? Norgard, maybe Mascara as well. It's going to be a tough opener, that is. I still think we could win it, because you never know what can happen on the opening day. But I don't feel like we're ready. No, is my opinion anyway. We're not ready for the start of the season. We can all play the blame game, but we're not ready. Amorim will say we're ready. The club will convey a message that we're ready, but we're not ready. I mean, look at what happened in the Europa League final. Look at what happened last season. If somebody had said to me, at the final whistle after that Spurs game, the solution to this is Cunha and Mbeumo and the same squad, I'd have said, you're having a bloody laugh. I like Mbeumo, I like Cunha, but what? Yeah, Garnacho out, Mbeumo and Cunha in, and that's it for the first game of the season. I'd be like, what are you bloody talking about? What are we doing with the midfield then? Same. Goalkeeper the same. Striker? No. Okay, what are we talking about? We're not ready. We've got no striker in. We've got no goalkeeper in. The midfield hasn't been renovated. We're not ready. We're not ready, in my opinion. Doesn't mean we can't have a good start to the season, but I think we're not ready, and this is how we're going to start the season. I think there will be more signings, but they're clearly not going to be in the next 3 weeks, are they? So get your thoughts in on that, of course, as well. I also wanted to bring this in as well. Lots of people getting comments in, and we will go through that. Loving the 8 o'clock shows. But at Martian Ball on X, who I think I do follow, and he's quite opinionated, and that's probably why I follow them. Doesn't mean I agree with everything they say, but I do like some of their posts. This is what they've had to say. By the end of the season, even Bruno's biggest fans will admit that turning down 100 million for him was a huge mistake. What are your thoughts on that? I don't think Bruno Fernandes fans are going to desert him no matter what. I've played the game. I've been here. I've seen what happens when you criticise Bruno, and I'm one of his fans. I'm just a realist. They ain't going to desert him at all. They'll blame other people. Bruno has a loyal following. But I like the question because, like it or not, And I like Bruno. And I'd still argue he's our best player and he is our captain. But what I liked about the post is that absolutely categorically at the end of next season, the jury will be out. Amorim will be scrutinised. Turning £100 million down for Bruno, the worst thing about it is, and we said it at the time on this channel, is that whatever decision you make, there will be a reckoning at the end of next season. The only winner in that was Saudi, even though they lost, because they basically disrupted. They showed ambition and bravery to take him. And when they didn't take him, and we made the decision one way or the other, it was always going to be scrutinised because it was such a big offer. If you'd sold him and we'd had a bad season, everyone would have said, well, that's because you sold Bruno. And if you keep him and you have a bad season, well, that's because you didn't sell Bruno. Amorim and the club were between a rock and a hard place the minute that bid came in. The interesting thing is going to be who gets proved right and who gets proved wrong, because one party will and one, Amorim's either going to be right or wrong. If Bruno's Player of the Year and we finish in the top 5 and we're back in the Champions League, and I hope that's the case, Amorim's there. Sit down. If we have a bad season and we finish 6th or below, and Bruno doesn't work in the midfield, then Amorim is going to be scrutinised as you turn down £100 million for a guy that can't even play midfield. So it's going to be really interesting. And look, I'm not going to deny I like a good debate. We can't solve it now. I'd love to know your thoughts, but that ain't a problem that is going nowhere. I say problem. That's not a story that's not going somewhere. One way or another, there will be an answer to that question. And I like Bruno. I want Amorim to do well. And I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong with every bit of me. I want to be wrong. I was on Terry's channel this morning and we were talking about it. And it was like, I just want a season where we're happy. I want a season where we're positive. I don't think you realise how draining it is week after week expecting bad results and then watching bad results and then arguing with fellow United fans. I want debates, I want conversation, but they're so much better when you've got a trajectory, a path, a step forward, a movement forward. I want to see that this season. So I want Amorim to be right. I do not want to go back to the when's he going to get sacked, who's the next manager going to be, the cycle all starts again. I want to see a progressive season. But there are one or two things that you look at and you go, he's got to be right on that. He's got to be right on Bruno in the midfield. He ain't going to play him as a number 10. Amorim wants quick flair players as number 10. Mbumo, Ahmad, Xerxes, Cunha. And people say, well, Xerxes is not quick, but he's a flair player. He goes past people. Bruno can't go past people, and he ain't particularly quick. He likes Bruno. He's just finding a place for him in his team in the midfield. That has to work. If Onana's his goalkeeper, that's got to work. And if Nicolas Jackson's his striker, well, he may as well sack himself. Anyway, a couple of interesting things there. Do you think we're ready? What do you think about that about Bruno? JB says, Bruno is not a centre midfielder, what Ralph Amorim sees. He needs a centre midfielder that can keep possession of the ball and can defend altogether and join the attack. Bruno could cost Amorim his job. The only thing I will say, JB, and I've said it a couple of times now, is for this to work, and it can work, you're right. Bruno can't be a midfielder, but he can play in the midfield pivot. What does that mean? What it basically means is Bruno becomes an overload in the number 10 to swamp the opposition. And I saw it a little bit against Leeds. He was leaving his station to implement the press and try and swamp Leeds. And that's what Amorim was talking about the second pass. They were playing through it to get at our defence. But you can do that when you've got an extra centre-back and you keep your full-backs back. So, all right, we've got a midfield pivot and you shouldn't leave your station and you should be disciplined. But we have also got 3 centre-backs. And most teams play with 1 forward. So when we play Arsenal on the opening day, why would you have Maguire, De Ligt and Yoro holding hands? One of them needs to step into the midfield. Then that releases Bruno. Now this takes Pep level dedication, scrutiny, analysis and training. But Bruno in a midfield pivot of a 2 with a back 4 behind him terrifies me. Bruno in a pivot with a 3 where one of the centre-backs steps into the midfield could work. Could work. But I still would go, you're still using him deeper, and I'm not so sure about it. But look, it could work. I hope it does work. I'm not saying it's impossible, but I don't like it, but it could work. Amorim's big mistake. If Bruno was... Sorry, I'll go back to that one. Mesty says, if Bruno was sold, then United wouldn't have got as good a replacement. Then you would have even worse problems in the midfield in the last third of the pitch, says Mest. To be fair, I don't know what anybody else's thoughts was. I said we didn't need a replacement. I don't think we needed a replacement. Bruno's a number 10. We bought Mbeumo and Cunha. Bruno's not a number 8. I've got Mainu. I've got Ugarte. I could have got Wharton, Rios. I don't think we needed to replace... You're replacing Bruno in the midfield. I don't think we needed him in the midfield. As a number 10, I've got Mbeumo and Cunha now. I don't think we needed to replace him in the midfield. We needed a midfielder, but we didn't need to replace him. If we begin the season well, we won't make any new signings, says Kevin. Matt McD, thanks for your super chat. He says, Fernandes not being sold was potentially our equivalent to Liverpool's Coutinho movement. Could have bought funds to get signings in that will springboard us back. Look, Matt, playing devil's advocate, if we'd sold Bruno, we could have bought Martinez, Watkins and a midfielder, and they'd be here now. So if I said to you, what would you rather have? Bruno here in the midfield with Cunha and Mbeumo, or Bruno's not here, you've got Watkins up front, you've got a goalkeeper, you've got a new midfielder, you've got Mbeumo and Cunha, and they're all on the plane to the States. Hey! I didn't say it was going to be easy. I didn't say I wasn't going to challenge you. There's no right or wrong answer, but if you're telling me the choice is Bruno's gone to Al Hilal, and it's a choice between that and Mbeumo, Cunha, Watkins, Martinez and a midfielder are on the plane now, or we don't sell him and it's Cunha and Mbeumo and Bruno's here and nothing else. I'm leaning more towards the situation that we're in now. Mainly because I know that's going to be the situation. When I was talking about it at the start of June, I actually thought he might go, so I was more open to it. Maybe because I'm in reality now, I probably would take this situation. But having said that, having a striker, a goalkeeper and a midfielder ready to go on the tour, as well as Mbeumo and Cunha, that would be the new start. Bruno is not a centre midfielder, says JB. I've done that one, haven't I? Amorim's big mistake so far, says Liam Thomas, is the arrogance to play Bruno in a 2. Can I get out? Can I get a shout out? It's my 40th today, says Norfolk Boy 1985. Well, 1985 would make you 40. Well done, and thank you very much for sharing your birthday. And a big shout out to you. Happy birthday. Enjoy your day. Amorim could find himself managing Bruno in Saudi, says Yanni. Bruno should have gone, get Sesko, says Christine. We could still... Not many people answering the question I posed about, are we ready for the start of the season? How do you feel about that? Thanks everyone who's tuning in, by the way. Nearly 18,000 of you. Share the video. Make sure you subscribe. We could still get 80 million for Bruno next summer, 100%, says Matthew. Yeah, but you know what, Matthew? You know what I'm going to say. With all due respect, I couldn't give a toss about the January transfer window. I couldn't give a toss about next summer either. Do I look like Samuel Luckhurst? I mean, give him September the 1st and he'll be telling us we're signing half of the bloody Bundesliga next summer. We never do. Live in the now. Tomorrow never comes and yesterday's finished. You've got to live in the now. To clarify, Sunday night, you said someone told you why did Mbeumo on Thursday, but you had to ask him if you could say. I wasn't allowed to say, Rylan, you're right. I know what you're on about. Yeah, I'm not going to ruin that relationship. I was told something by somebody who knows something, and it's not major. It's just a lot of people think that we bid on Mbeumo on Thursday because of Newcastle. We didn't. It was somebody else, but it's not allowed to be out there at the moment. Hi, Mark. It's my birthday today. Champers, says Damien. Well, you and Norfolk boy. What's your favourite Sabbath? An Ozzy solo track. Rest in peace to an absolute rock god. Matt, I like Ozzy Osbourne. I liked his TV series and I liked his interviews, but I didn't like his music and I don't know anything about it. I'd rather put Seb... I quite like that song he did. Was it that one? He might have done it with his daughter or something. Changes. I quite like that. I'd rather put Seb up front instead of Jackson. Mark, says PZ. DH, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. Thank you for getting your badge in and being a member. Really appreciate our Members Club, and it doesn't go unnoticed. Like Benny, John, Giolanzi and Josh Waring, thank you very much for getting your badges in. Kevin as well. Kevin says we're not ready. Are you going out with your missus or are you talking about United? He's talking about United. Mike JW, thank you very much for being a member as well. Matthew Gartell as well. Thoughts, Mark, on Liverpool getting Ekatike and potentially Isak and Rodrigo? Feel like Liverpool are on FIFA career mode this summer of all summers. Says I'm begging for Wi-Fi. Look, I don't want to. It sort of fits in with nicely with Are We Ready? I think there is still an awakening that is needed in football. It's like they haven't smelt the coffee and woken up, and we have. Like, I've moved on from this. We've had this conversation a month ago. This summer, football changed. And they'll wake up at some point and realise it. Some bloody blue tick journalist who got a degree, or, you know, maybe one of the ex-players, maybe Carragher will be jumping around on a Monday night in his white trainers telling us he's discovered something that everyone's been talking about for 6 months. Football changed this summer. So I'm begging for Wi-Fi talking about Liverpool having, you know, a FIFA career mode transfer window. They have. They have. So have Chelsea. No one's talking about Man City's transfer window. No one talks about Man City, that's why. But I mean, look at Arsenal's. Kepa as the backup goalkeeper. That was Bournemouth's number one. Mascara, the Valencia centre-back, who's really exciting. Norgard as the experienced backup to replace Jorginho. Zubimendi, one of the most exciting midfielders in European football. Madueke, look, I don't agree with it, but 52 million quid. Gyokeres, the striker, the most prolific striker in Europe last season. And they're still going to bring in another attacking player, whether it be Eze, Rodrigo or Xavi Simons. So Liverpool have had a great window, but so have Arsenal. So have Chelsea. So have Manchester City. And there hasn't been an awakening yet. And when there is, we can all go, we've been talking about this for weeks. Football changed this summer. Club World Cup was a symbol of that. The Super League exists. And it's called the Champions League. When the Champions League changed, I and many of you said, I'll give it a year and then I'll make my opinion on it. I actually liked the Champions League. I actually quite liked the group stage, the league stage. But what I will say is, that's the Super League in a different name. I don't think Perez will be pushing for a Super League anytime soon. He's bloody got it. Some of those group games, those 8 games, which you don't need to play 8, some of them games will be played in New York. Some of them games will be played in Sydney. I guarantee you in the next 3 years. Money. The Champions League is the Super League. You can earn £100 million for being in it. And if you look at the top 4 in the Premier League over the last decade, it changes a lot. There are consistent teams that are in it. Man City, Chelsea to a certain extent. But if you list the teams that have been in the Champions League over the last 10 years, it's not like Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal and City have been in it 9 times. Arsenal weren't in it regularly up until 3 years ago. It is now the league. It is now. You've got to be in it. You've got to be in it. Because by not being in it, you're killing yourself. I don't know whether Man United have realised this. I don't know whether the media have realised this. But if you're not in the Champions League, you're suffocating. You're going to die. And that is why Arsenal, Chelsea, Liverpool and Man City have gone, let's play ball. I've never known a transfer window like it. I've never known a transfer window like it where the top 4 have obliterated everybody else. Obliterated them. And you go, why? Why? Because I'll tell you what, if it was just for the Premier League, at some point, one of those clubs would have gone, let them have it. We'll have a go, but let them have it. We can't spend that amount of money just to try and win the Premier League when 4 clubs are doing it. They're all doing it because they'll all win as long as they're in the Champions League, and that's what it's all about. Thank you. I'm begging for Wi-Fi. You made a good point. If we're strapped for dollars, why don't we loan them in more, says Hitton. What's the best 11 right now, says El Barto. When everybody's fit, it will be Anana, Delo, Mazraoui, De Ligt, Yoro, Dorgu, Bruno, maybe Ugarte, Cunha, and Burmo, Xerxes. That will be our team. And no, we're not ready. I always get excited for the start of the season, but day one is Gyokeres versus Anana. How depressing, says Richard E. It's going to be a great... I tell you what, though, that game's going to be great. I can't wait for that. It's going to be a great game. You can't argue with it, because opening day you can get shocks. It's at Old Trafford. They're a brilliant team. People are going to say we're going to get stuffed. You got the Gyokeres versus Amorim thing. He can't afford to lose. We lose that game, Amorim out, starts again. They lose that game, Arteta out, starts again. It's going to be exciting, certainly. What a start to the season. La Familia says, Amorim, ex-players not coming. He acts as anyone that doesn't agree with him. Is it a dictatorship approach? He cost us the Europa League. I hope I'm wrong. Mike says, hope you're doing well. Any news on outgoings? We need to get some of the dross out as much as we need a striker and a midfielder and a keeper. Well, no. The only thing I would say is Garnacho... I think Chelsea want Garnacho, but they want us to take Jackson as in return. So it's slow. Sancho is slow. Malacia, no one's interested in. And Anthony, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it with Anthony. These are players that want to play in the World Cup, and you've basically wasted... I mean, it's 3 weeks into pre-season now. I mean, and Garnacho's on a bloody treadmill. Come on. Where's your ambition? Thoughts on ESPN saying Amorim will be sacked by December, says DV. I'll tell you what. If we are going to sack Amorim, he shouldn't go till the end of the season. When has it ever worked, sacking a manager before Christmas? Jose was sacked before Christmas. Ollie came in with his bus. Everyone got on it. We gave him a new contract in March. It all went to shit and we were stuck with him for 2 years. Ten Hag gets sacked. It all goes to shit. Ollie gets sacked. Rangnick comes in. It all goes to shit. I really hope, even if it goes bad, we have the foresight to just get through the season this time. Because if you sack a manager halfway through the season, you go for someone like Amorim, who then gets burnt, or you go for someone like Rangnick, who could have been great for us, who gets burnt and then you sack him, or you go for someone like Ollie and then you give the wrong person the job. So we shouldn't be, even if you're Amorim out, even if we have a bad start, we shouldn't be sacking a manager before bloody Christmas again. Are we ever going to learn? We just have to get through the season. Have to. Hate to see it. With only 2 new signings so far, we've effectively polished the turd mark. I have very little optimism for the new season, says Bounty. And that's a great point as well. As soon as the games come back, people start pointing the finger at Amorim. But remember, we are also in a position where we haven't really backed this manager again. It's a completely different style of play, and we brought 2 players. We can't get the striker we need, at least get the goalkeeper, says Pete. And selling Bruno for 100 million to fund a number 6 and Sesko would have made more sense. I'd prefer Michael Jackson over Nicholas. Would you take Nunez? No, because he plays for Liverpool, Amit. Get Gary Lineker, he's out of contract on a free, says Stephen. I'd take Lineker over Jackson. I mean, he's in his 60s, but I'd still take him. Probably because the way we, for managers, especially after they bring in their own players, says Chris, we should look at Samu, says Paul McGran. Ineos win every time, because at this point I'd probably take Welbeck, says Tyrant. I'd take Welbeck over Jackson. Alex Mix, thank you very much. I mean, if you can find a striker I wouldn't take over Jackson, that'd be quite interesting. Slow Sports News says, rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. Julian says, my name is Julian. I live in Malta, and you guys should come here. It's my birthday today. Thanks for all you do, says Julian. There we go. Malta is a lovely place, and lots of Man United fans there. Whoever put Jackson needs their head examining. What club with ambitions of climbing into the top 6 funds their rival? This is my Emily. This is my big thing. I mean, I like Emily a lot. I don't want to upset Robert, but I do. And she speaks a lot of sense, whereas Robert speaks some sense. But you're right. I mean, look, the OnlyFans DMs, the crap finishing, and the bad attitude might all be good reasons why you don't want him. And he has got a bad attitude, actually. Gets sent off loads. And he's always offside. But the big thing is I don't want to fund a rival. I don't want to fund Chelsea. They finished 4th. We should be looking at that and going, that's where we want to be. Not going, I mean, what stupid football club looks at Chelsea in 4th and goes, we'll help you out. We'll buy your shit so you can... I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? It's absolutely incredible. It's like being in a race and you're in 5th and the car in front's in 4th and their tyres are starting to wear down. And in the pit stop, you say, take our new tyres and we'll have yours. And then they've got better grip and better tyres and they move further away. And you're on their worn tyres and you're moving further away. And you're like, why did you do that? Why did you help them move further away? Idiots. Rather take nothing than Jackson and work on a keeper, says Parker. I hope we have a good season and happy 60. I've done that one from Rita about HBK. Sweet chin music. That's what I'd give to this Jackson deal. I don't think it's going to happen, by the way. Jokes aside, I'm only reacting to the news. I genuinely don't think it'll happen. Frank says, top 4 clubs' objectives are winning the Premier League and the Champions League, while United are 13th in the league is improvement. Walking slowly, champers. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go down that road tonight because I'll get fed up. But I'm genuinely worried about our future. Football did change this summer. And the money that the top 4 have got has been evidenced by their summer transfer window. Nobody has replicated in any way, shape or form what Man City, Arsenal, Chelsea and Liverpool have done. Why? Because they've got Champions League revenue. Next year it'll be even worse. Year after that it'll be even worse. It's only going to get worse. The gap's only going to get bigger, and I don't know what our plan is. It's going to be tough. We're always going to be a big club. We're not going to get relegated or anything like that, but the gap between us and the top 4 could get bigger and bigger and bigger. Tuchel replacing Lampard won them the Champions League, says Addick. Sorry, Addick. The last time I checked, we were Manchester United. We didn't play at Stamford Bridge and wear blue. You know, your auntie and uncle might do things in the bedroom your mum and dad don't do. What's that got to do with anything? It's like when people say Klopp did this at Liverpool. Did he? Did he really? What's that got to do with Man United? I'd be curious to know if Amorim is regretting the Bruno sale now, seeing how bad the window has went. No, Siddur. No, he won't regret that. He won't regret that. I've played the game. You've played the game. I've been a manager in work and on the pitch. And when you have people that you trust and want to go to war with or work with, you make that decision. You stand by that decision. He won't have any second thoughts about Bruno. And I respect that. The manager should be allowed to manage. I mean, if he wants Nicolas Jackson, he should be giving him, and then he should pay the bloody. He should go to prison for it. I wanted us to sell Bruno, but I don't like this. We should have sold Bruno thing every time we miss a target. I'd rather blame management behind the scenes than a manager backing his captain, says Nick P. I agree with you, Nick. I really, really do. But I've got to be honest. It's why I keep saying. It's why I won't say we need to just stop talking about the Bruno thing, because who am I to say that? And also, it's a lie. We're not going to not talk about that. The minute we turned it down, it was always going to be a topic of conversation all season. And the minute we took it, it was always going to be a conversation anyway. We were damned if we do and we were damned if we don't. And it's always going to be a conversation this season. And, you know, I dread the games he has a bad game. Because he can have 4 good games, and when he has the 5th game and he's shit, everyone will go, we should have sold him. So it's going to be a constant point of contention for the next 9 months. But it was ridiculous money for a 31-year-old, and that's why. Look, if it had been Bayern Munich offering us 60 million, I don't think anyone would have ever mentioned it again. We could have took it, but it's not amazing money, is it? I think the value of the money was the thing that did this, because it could have been transformative. It could have been like the sacrificial lamb. And also, we hit rock bottom, so if you're ever going to do a reset, now was the time. Mike Sand says, you should do a book based on your stories from the Aftershow. Absolute comedy gold. We'll do better than the first book, but maybe Mrs. Goldbridge wouldn't approve. Oh, you know when I did the Aftershow the other day? I mean, the problem is, I'm not 16, I'm like 46. So there's a lot of things I've done that you forget, and they get prompted from conversation. And that one the other night about pissing on the grave. No, I didn't piss on the grave. I threw up on the grave. I wouldn't do that. That's disrespectful. I'd forgotten about that. But as I said, in hindsight, I'm glad I did throw up on the grave, because if I hadn't and I'd stayed in any way not being sick, I was about to do something I would have very much regretted with a woman that I really shouldn't have been anywhere near. Anyway, that was from the after show at the weekend. Devil's Advocate. Do we need a super squad without Europe? Hopeful thinking we are keeping back our measly pounds for next season if we are. Oh no, Sid. Sid's done it. I knew at some point somebody was going to come out with that. Maybe we're trying to just do what we can with this squad and saving money for next summer. I mean, mate, that would be, if you want an analogy, that's like saving your money for a holiday that never comes because you die. You know, that's like the person who keeps this wad of money and keeps it back for when they're going to have this holiday that they never have. Like, we can't do that. Football doesn't work like that, Sid. You can't keep money back for next summer in the hope that we'll be in a better position. You have to spend now. Look at what all the teams are doing. If I was Sir Jim Radcliffe and I had access to 300 million quid, I'd be spending it now. Because 5th place is up for grabs. And I look at Europe, and I think surely we will get the 5th place again, because it's the 2 top performing countries that get an extra space. And I can't see Spain, France, Italy or Germany as a collective having a better European campaign than the English clubs. I mean, all 4 of Chelsea, Liverpool, Man City and Arsenal should hit the quarterfinals. Aston Villa should hit the final of the Europa League. The only 3 I'd be worried about would be Spurs, but I think with Thomas Frank he'll get them into the knockout stage. Palace in the Europa League, you'd hope they'd get the quarterfinals. Or no, they're in the Conference League actually. You'd hope they'd get the quarter, and Forest, yeah. So look, I think 5th place will be there, and I'd be looking at Man United for it. Oh, you can tell it's bloody Love Island, can't you? I'll tell you what, I'll never not be ashamed for you. We had 18,500 people watching, and yet again, for about 7 years in a row, you hit 9 o'clock and you lose 1,000 viewers. That is so disheartening, that is. That's so disheartening. It's like finding out one of your friendship group, like One Direction. 1,000 people who watch this show would rather leave to go and catch the start of Love Island. I mean, there are benefits to watching Love Island, but, you know, come on. Do you think top 4 last season will now consistently be top 4 for the next couple of seasons? Yes. Yes, Franco. I think we need the 5th place to be a Champions League spot, and that's up for grabs. But remember, you got Newcastle. Oh, Newcastle are in Europe as well, aren't they? I forgot about them. Yeah, hopefully they'll do well. We've got 6 teams in the Champions League, haven't we? That's the problem. It's the volume of English teams. We need them all to do well. Ironic how Sporting were in talks with United this morning on a potential takeover. Then a few hours later, Gyokeres deal gets done. Spin. No, thanks, Spin. Not ready, not even close. At this rate, we need a miracle, says Mike. We needed a transformative summer transfer window. Look, I hope the powers that be at United are sort of taking note of this sort of conversation The reason that top four is spending loads of money is because they want to lock down top four for the next 10 years. And they will. Because they'll get £100 million more than we will every year. And that's accumulative. But 5th place is up for grabs. And if you get 5th place, you get 100 million yourself. So we should just be going all out for that. Jason Brown says, I'd rather buy a magic bag of beans than Nicolas Jackson. Damien Derwin, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much for that. Ryland says, reports Gyokeres snubbed us because Lindelof treatment. Bullshit. Absolute bullshit. Should have took that long to sign Mbeumo and Wizza, says Jordan. Am I the only one who doesn't trust the 99% story on Gyokeres from Romano based on the final? A player who was that close won't reject so many times. Look, it was an opinion from Fabrizio that he was 99% sure or something along those lines that we would have got Gyokeres if we'd won the Champions League final. But what I always found strange about that, and I have to be honest, is that if we'd won the Champions League, I think Delap would have said yes, and he was number one priority. So we never even would have gone for him. Or would we have abandoned Delap? I don't know. All I know is, for a fact, is that in the March transfer window, Amorim made the decision that he didn't want Onana. In the first week of April, Man United's priority was to be Liam Delap. We've never been in for Semenyo. And to buy a midfielder, either Mainu or Casemiro needed to go. And that's been the situation up until now. But things are changing, aren't they? We didn't get Delap. We should still get a goalkeeper, but Onana could still be number one. And now we're looking at the midfield and deciding we need one, even though we've got 5 options there and no European football. So look, windows do change, but I don't know how we were going to get Gyokeres if we were in the Champions League, because that would have probably got us Delap. To push Bruno forward, we need an explosive centre midfielder. Ugarte, Casemiro or Mainu won't cut it, and I doubt we'll sign one. You missed my membership gifting, says Amit. Sorry about that. Amit's gifted some memberships. Legend. I don't think he wants to push Bruno forward, by the way. There's some people who think that Bruno's playing in the midfield because he's filling in. I don't think Amorim wants to play Bruno as a 10. I don't think he fits the profile. I think he's a midfielder. Mike San has gifted 5 memberships as well. Matthew Gartel says, you're welcome. Thanks for being a member for 57 months. Do you think Ugarte can work? Says Matthew. Seems like he gets targeted by the opposition when he has the ball. I like Ugarte. I think it's a very big season for him. Fabinho had a slow first year at Liverpool and then was brilliant. Gravenberch had a slow first season at Liverpool and then he was brilliant last year. So I'm hoping second season. But if he isn't good this year, he's a flop. I think we've had 2 years. That's it. So it's a big season for him. And I hope he does well because I like him. And I think last season he did have more good games than people gave him credit for. And also he had no pre-season. I'm hoping that the energy of the 2 number 10s can cover the midfield. Definitely not ready, says Stephen. The way we go, not sure we're ready even for next season, says Driss. No, we're not ready and top 5 is a pipe dream. If Barcelona can't register Rashford, who picks up his wages? Any risk for us, says Paul. Only 2 signings, says Bounty Hunter. The turd has been polished, Mark. Amorim will be a success. Trust him and give him time, says Ridham. Well, I think one thing that has come out of this show that's very interesting is that we shouldn't be sacking a manager at Christmas. I would absolutely and totally in hindsight, absolutely in hindsight, not lying at all. At the time, I think Ten Hag needed to go. But I would have kept Ten Hag till the end of the season. Without a doubt. And I'm going to say it now. If things go wrong with Amorim, I don't want to see him getting sacked in November or December. Stick it out for the season. Because nothing good comes out of bringing a manager in December. They won't get backed in January. We'll get beaten again. And the new manager will be tainted. And I don't like interims. So I think Amorim has to be given the season no matter what. Even if it gets bad. But you know what? With Ten Hag, I think we'd have had a better season than we did with Amorim. And we might have won the Europa League. Because tactically, I think he would have beat that Spurs team. I still would have got rid of him at the end. I'm not saying we should have given Ten Hag the season then kept him, but we would have been in a better position if Ten Hag had stayed and Amorim had took over in the summer. But hopefully those days are over of reactionary decisions where we're not prepared. I mean, if you sacked Amorim, where are we going to go next? Xabi, can we get Xabi in? Yeah, get Xabi in, another project where we haven't got the players for it, and it all goes wrong in the first 4 months because he hasn't got a pre-season and a summer transfer window. What people forget is that Jose Mourinho came in at the end of the season, but he knew he had Van Gaal's job for months, and he was prepping for it. You can know you're going to get a job in the summer and prepare for it. I think Mawani would really suit Amorim's system, says Sean. I'd take him over Jackson. If Amorim wants Jackson, what's the price you'd take? No, nothing. I don't want him. Who to blame? Don't. You're talking to the wrong person. I am not going to get on board with Nicolas Jackson at Man United. Never. I'd rather have Southgate. No, I wouldn't. Pre-season won't fix an unchanged squad, says Siraj. I'm looking forward to the pre-season games, though, because they're all against Premier League teams. Normally when you go to the States and you play LA Galaxy and all that, and you play 3 different teams for half an hour, I think we're going to take it serious. Would you be happy with only Isaac for the window? No, Frank. As the unofficial president of United Stand Ultras, says Swami, no Ultra would have clipped that story and sent it to Mrs. Goldbridge. Thanks, pal. Mason Mount unlocks Jackson, says Golden. Well, they can go and unlock each other on the local park because that sounds rude, but Mason Mount's not even going to get in this team. Mason Mount's not even part of this team, so they can go and play on the park. Mason Mount, yeah, okay. That's from Golden Standard. My expectations from Amorim are simple. Win 50% of the matches in the league this season and get to 60 to 65 points and stay next year. That's from GGMU. Started when we changed Man United to MU on the shirt, says Janus. A United standard in the fan base can be achieved. No Chelsea fan begs to keep Nkunku. No Liverpool fans beg to keep Darwin. And then he lists a load of players that aren't good enough after 2 years. Blake, who I think he's talking about, Rasmus, Onana, Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Mason Mount and Luke Shaw. I wouldn't take Calvert-Lewin over Jackson either. I wouldn't take either. I'd rather have what we've got. Heaven and Yoro are going to have breakout seasons. Both are good defenders, but what I like most about them is they can carry the ball up the pitch when there's no movement. We're fine in the centre-back areas. We're stacked. My only concern is injuries. Rags are riches there. Okay, thanks everybody for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Don't forget to check out Manscaped. 20% off with the code TUS20. Trim the grass to make the yard look bigger. I'll speak to you on the next one. Thank you very much. Take care. And into the after show. Okay, what should we talk about on the after show? I got asked a question the other day, and I thought I'm definitely bringing this into the after show. What influencers do you get on with, and what influencers do you not like? And I thought, you know what? That's a good after show. So I'll do that in a moment. But have you ever been walking somewhere, let's say a 20-minute walk, and sort of 10 minutes into it, it starts really badly raining? And you're just in a t-shirt. Do you finish the journey or do you go back to the start? Literally happened to me and Seb this morning. We were walking down to the shops and about 10 minutes in, it starts to really badly rain and we were both in t-shirts and we were drenched, stood under a tree. And I thought, you know what? This is actually... Seb was like, do you think we should go back or carry on? And I went, you know what? This is bigger than being in the rain. This is like a life lesson. We've got a destination. We're not going back. We're not going back. And he went, let's just go for it, Dad. And I went, yeah, we'll finish the journey. And you know what we'll do? You know what we'll do when we get to Sainsbury's? We'll buy an umbrella for the journey back. High five. Anyway, talking about... I tell you what, I was that wet. I had these... In fact, I was wearing the same outfit. I've dried off during the day. I was that wet. Imagine these jogging bottoms, what they look like when they're wet. I was that wet, I easily could have pissed myself and no one would have known. That's how wet I was. I was drenched. And I have to say, if I had felt like having one, I probably would. But I was wet. Okay, right. Okay, influencers that I like. Well, and I don't like. I'll give you some controversial ones. I really like Angry Ginge. I've always liked him. And to be fair, Beta Squad, Mini Minter, Sidemen. I like all of them. It's a difficult one because, like, to be fair, you know, like the Kickoff, I used to really like, well, I still do like Loz, but I used to like Brian and Loz. It's a shame what happened with them, and it's a shame what certain people did. I really used to like going on there. I used to really look up to them. I really used to like the Kickoff before they got the other lot involved. The early days of it was great. I just thought it was fantastic. I haven't spoken to Brian in a long time, but obviously I still speak to Loz. But yeah, I really liked them. They were very accommodating in the early days. Robbie, I get on with Robbie. We've had our ups and downs, but I do get on with Robbie. I don't know Bevo. I don't want to talk about any other United content creators because that's just, it's not, you know, I'm not in that world. I'm not in that. I don't do that. I'm not interested in that. My message is always that anyone who's a content creator, I know how hard it is, and I let everybody else make their mind up about that. I don't watch them. I'm not interested in them. But respect. It's a, you know, it's a challenging and hard-working vocation. I don't really give it any thought other than the thought I just gave it there. People I don't like in the industry. I'm quite good, really. I don't hold on to resentment or bitterness. I did used to. God, watch the channel about 7 or 8 years ago. Have I ever met anybody that was a real knobhead? Yeah, Speed. No, I'm joking. I like Speed. I've not seen him for a while, but he was always. I remember. Yeah, I like Speed. I don't know. No, I don't think. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of knobheads out there, but I don't know. There's a couple of ex-players in the industry that I wouldn't say they've blanked me because I wouldn't give them the time of the day for them to do it. But Ben Foster, no, I'm joking. I like Ben. No, I mean it's a funny question, really. I mean, I would love to talk in depth about like my opinions on certain content creators, like the bigger ones and the journey. And you know, I find what happened to the Kickoff, for example, quite fascinating, and I'd love to give my view on it based on knowing. Like, I like Rory. I've always got on with Rory, but I don't necessarily agree with some of the decision making and the people he sort of works with. But I'm sure he probably looks at me the same. I haven't spoken to him for a while, but you know, I think it's a shame what happened there. A shame. I said to Loz, like, the real opportunity. There was a real opportunity at one point to do the Kickoff with Brian, him, me, probably Rory, and then maybe an Arsenal fan. You know, and it's a shame. I do think this industry never really capitalised on the big hitters because everyone wanted to do their own thing, and now it's just a mess. There's just too many people doing it now. But I think there was a real opportunity and it never happened. I'm getting a bit reflective here. Let's talk about the rain again and thrown up on a grave. What's the worst drunk you've ever been? Oh God. This is why. I think between the age of 16 and 18, every Saturday night, I would drink to excess. I'm going to say every Saturday night, but most... I think when I was younger, I used to drink, didn't know my limit. You don't know your limits, right? And the amount of times I'd like get home and I'd be in the... I remember once I was in the kitchen. Where was I? I was in the toilet and I'd thrown up and then I'd fallen asleep on the floor. And I woke up and my top was off. And no, I won't say that. And I remember I had this like spot on my shoulder. I don't know. I'd never had it before. It was like a spot, and it had a bit of a yellow head on it. I'm being a bit gross here. And I woke up, and I was sort of looking there, and all I could see was my mum over me, and she had a dressing gown on. It wasn't naked or anything like that. We're not going down that road. because I was so pissed, I thought she was operating on my shoulder. And I must have been, I thought I'd broken my shoulder or something. And then the next day I woke up and obviously she'd popped the spot on my shoulder. Disgusting. I used to ride the, like when you walk upstairs, what do they call it? The banister that goes up the stairs so you don't fall off the stairs. And then at the top, there's normally another one so that you don't fall down onto the stairs. And it's normally like 3 bits of wood. I remember and I don't know why I did it, because my stepdad would have battered me. But I still did it anyway. I remember being climbing them up because they looked like ropes from a ring. I climbed up and I was on the top going, "Can you smell what the Rock is cooking?" And I just kept saying it for about 10 minutes at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I woke everybody up. They put me in the shower with my clothes on and just turned the shower on cold. I've always just silly drink to excess. Know your limits. And one of the worst ones was when I lived in Ireland and I was in Malahide and I'd had too much to drink. So I went out and sat down by the marina, because there's a marina in Malahide. It's quite nice. And my phone went, and it was my girlfriend at the time. And I says, I just managed to... I was drunk, but I was coherent enough to just go, I'm down in the marina. And then I just remember this bloody can hitting me on the back of the head. And I was like, not full. It was like an empty can. And I turned around, and there was these, obviously, Irish lads, probably about 15, 16, who had a few cans because they couldn't get in the pub. And they were just throwing stuff at me. And I was like... I remember in the depths of my drunkenness, I was quite angry, going, if only I wasn't, if I'd have stood up, I'd have fell over. And I thought, it's better to just sit here and get hit by cans than to stand up and make them laugh even more. And I thought at that point, I hate being out of control. Because deep down in my head, I don't know whether you've ever had it when you've been drunk, where you're drunk and there's nothing you can do about it. And I just wanted to be sober so I could sort it out. And I was like, I just had to sit there while they were throwing cans at my head. And I don't like being out of control. We went out one night in... Me and Mrs. Goldbridge, we went out one night in Mallorca, and we went into this... I hadn't eaten, which was stupid. And we went out early, and we went to this cocktail bar, and I ordered some sort of vodka thing. I remember drinking it going, that tastes quite strong. But I drank it. And I said, shall we have another one before we go for something to eat? And we did. And I drank it. There must have been God knows how many vodkas in it. And we got to sit down for dinner. We'd only been out for an hour. It was about 9 o'clock at night. And we sat down for dinner and I said, I've been feeling like this for about 5 minutes. I'm just going to tell you, I'm absolutely wasted. My head's spinning. I think I'm going to throw up. I'm wasted. Know your limits. I do like a drink now, but I just don't drink to excess. I don't like losing control. This is not a rap of drugs, by the way. I just realised I'm going like that with that. No. You're not getting me on that. That's not like cannabis or anything like that. Basically, it's way more boring than that. It was Toblerone that I had with a cup of tea at lunch. You're all just going to do me now. But that's a wrapper from Toblerone that I had at lunchtime while I was doing some work. And I was just ripping the foil off and throwing it over there. These after shows, they're going to get me in trouble. I'm definitely going to get clipped again. It's bloody Toblerone wrapper. Can't do anything these days. You can't even have a Toblerone without being accused of doing cannabis. Have you ever been to Amsterdam? No. My brother had his stag do in Amsterdam. He had 2 stag do's. He had one in Nottingham, which was a night out in Nottingham. And then he had another one in Amsterdam, which was 4 nights in Amsterdam. And we'd just had... Seb, I think, and I used that as an excuse not to go because I was like, nah, because it's just that's what a stag do, isn't it? I've been on loads of stag do's, and it's like it's excess. And people start drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning and carry on until 3 o'clock in the morning. And I know, yeah, no. Anyway, thanks everybody for tuning in. Champers, I hate it. Lawrence says Amsterdam inevitably ended up in hospital. If I went to Amsterdam, I'd just go to the Anne Frank Museum and ride a bike, and that would be it. Maybe go and watch an Ajax game. I'm not interested in the drugs, the prostitutes, or the heavy drinking. But that's what happens to you when you hit your mid-40s. Thanks everybody for watching. Take care. What's better, Toblerone, Kit Kat, or a double-decker? Oh. Now this is why I want a radio show. You've drawn me back in. We're not going to the ads. Toblerone, Kit Kat, or double-decker. I'll bin off a Kit Kat, even though I like it. And I do like double-deckers, to be honest. But it would have to be Toblerone. I mean, that's why I've got so much foil. I ate basically... Lynn, I've been bad. I drove to Dundee in my bare feet. No, I had a good half of a Toblerone today. Yeah, I did. I tell you what chocolate bars I do like. They don't do them anymore. Topic. Drifters. Remember Drifters? They were great. 2 fingers. Like a Twix. But it was really chewy caramel with a wafer. They were banging. Drifters were lovely. I don't think you can get them anymore. Really did used to like a drifter. I used to have to get the bus a lot from where I lived. In fact, what I'll do is one day I'll get Loz or someone to drive with me to the village where I lived, and we'll do a little IRL walk around, because you'd be fascinated by how quiet and rural it was. But yeah, we used to have to get the bus a lot if you went into Nottingham or school. So many a bus journey it would be, because you had no phones. You used to take 40 minutes to get from where I lived into Nottingham, and if you were going in on your own, you only had your thoughts. No wonder I'm creative. You only had your thoughts or the sun. And I know what I'd rather have, my thoughts. Especially if you sat near the back under the wheel, get a bit of vibration, get the thoughts going. Lovely stuff. But yeah, I used to have a can of Appletiser and a drifter. Not Appletiser, Apple Tango. Yeah. I can't believe anyone doesn't... Do they do drifters anymore? I'm going to have to find this out. Oh, they were so good. Do they do drifter bars? No. Nestle discontinued drifter chocolate bars in 2018 due to a changing consumer preference. While there's been public interest in a potential return, Nestle has confirmed there are no current plans to bring them back. Yeah, but you know what? If you want a chocolate argument, get me involved. I'd speak about this in the House of Parliament. Quality Street are crap. I'm not buying them. Every year of my life we've had a tin of Quality Street. Not this year. They don't taste the same. They got rid of the wrappers to paper. Used to open a tin of Quality Street at Christmas, and and you'd be taken back to your youth. Shiny wrappers, the smell, they've ruined it. Paper wrappers and chocolate that tastes like shit. They've ruined it. They've ruined the taste of chocolate in this country. You get no situational comedies anymore. Music is crap, and chocolate's rubbish as well. Why are things worse in 2025 than they were in 1995? Riddle, tell me that. Tell me that. The only thing that keeps me going is football. Thanks everyone for watching, and you lot, and obviously family and friends. Goes without saying. Come to Amsterdam. I'm here, says Rub. And Suraj says, why do people think a pre-season with the same squad can change anything? We'll have the same struggles. Start of the season will be very hard. Back on football there. Thanks to the 13,336 legends who stayed. Nice to be back doing the 8 o'clock show. I'm on it again for the rest of the week now. But thanks for Terry last night. I was in Manchester yesterday, so we were driving back. Took Seb up there, actually. We went in the Superstore, actually. We went in the Superstore. It's the first time I've been in. Never been in the Megastore at Old Trafford before. And Seb wanted a water bottle for... he was just thirsty. No, he wanted it for school. So I said, well, we'll go down. You can't deprive your kids. I'm sorry. I'm not. People go, well, you shouldn't have gone in. No, I'm not doing that to an 8-year-old. I'm sorry. I'm not going, you're not going in there because of the Glazers, this, that, and the other. No. But it's the first time I've been in. Yeah, we've got a water bottle. It's a bit soulless in there. It's like, it reminded me a bit of like herding cattle. They've got loads and loads of checkouts and little, when they funnel you towards a ride. But the actual shop is a bit soulless. It's like, there's the away kit, there's the home kit, there's some water bottles, there's the women's kit. And then, yeah, I can imagine on a match day, it's absolute carnage. Absolute carnage. Anyway, thanks for watching. Stay safe. And I will speak to you on the 10 o'clock show tomorrow. Really enjoying the 8 o'clocks as always. Make sure you subscribe if you're new. And Wednesday tomorrow. I tell you what I want from this week. I want to get concrete. That doesn't mean I want to get hard. I want some concrete interest in a player. And Burmo's done now. There's not long left in the window. We need 2 or 3 signings and 2 or 3 sales. Let's get concrete on somebody. Again, I must repeat, that doesn't mean that's not sexual. Speak to you in a bit.